This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. Gonna do something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. Get your lick back. If a nigga gonna do something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop letting this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX. J-Way. I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless. I'm gone. Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck. Give me to the trends. See a lead, be the band.
Welcome to Bleachers and Speakers. I'm your host, June, and welcome to today's show, the NFC North Division Who Will Be King series. It's the last show of the regular season, and we're just going to go around the room and let the host introduce themselves. We'll start with you, Dave. Dave, tell the people who you are and where they can find you.
Hey, everybody, I'm Dave Stefano from Vikings First and Skull. You can find us over on YouTube at Vikings First and Skull. You can find us on your favorite podcast aggregator at Vikings First and Skull. You can find us at FFSN, Fans First Sports Network, at Vikings First and Skull. And you can find us on Facebook at Vikings First and Skull. Got a theme going there. And just like this year, we're hopefully producing above expectations.
All right. Pay. Introduce yourself to the people.
As you said, my name's Pay. Coming in high, representing those Chicago Bears at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel. Check us out there at YouTube, TikTok, while it's still here. And anywhere you get your podcasts on the audio side, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and the others.
Okay. B. Foster.
Yeah, B. Foster, one half of Bleachers to Speakers, where you can find all of your Lions, Pistons, and Tigers coverage.
You should also subscribe to Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube. Follow us on our podcast aggregators. Just type in Bleachers Speakers FFSN in the search. Make sure you have that notification bell on, so when we drop content, you'll get an alert and download those episodes. Fellas, we are entering the last week of the regular season, and it seems like, for me, it seems like it just started not too long ago. I remember not saying too long ago, it's a lot of football left. It's not a lot of football left. We are nearing the end. This will be game 17 coming up this weekend. And before we jump into what's going on next weekend, because there's a big game on the horizon for Sunday night. It's the last game of that's the last game airing, and it's on national TV. The stage is set where the Lions host the Minnesota Vikings to see who will be king of the NFC North. And I don't think it could happen in any better fashion to decide for this show to have the last game of the season versus each other to determine who will win the NFC North. So we'll talk about what happened last weekend. We'll start with you, Dave. Your team defeated the Seattle. Did we talk about that already?
No, we didn't. We didn't beat Seattle last week.
Who did you beat last week? No, Green Bay. Oh, yeah. That's why I had it wrong. I'm like, we talked about the Packers. That was a big game versus the Packers at home. How did it go there? Dave?
We slaughtered them. It wasn't even close. Now, the final score was 27-25. They did come back and score some points in the fourth quarter during garbage time, but it wasn't even close. We led by over 3 touchdowns in the third quarter. We had held Jordan Love, the savior, to only like 68 yards in the middle of the third quarter. He was horrible on the day. And it wasn't until after that, until we started playing a drop back, easy zone prevent sort of defense, that they started scoring. But there was never enough time that they would overcome us, even though it did get us biting our nails with about 2 minutes left. But we dominated that game. It was simple. Sam Darnold had a career high 377 yards passing. He was 33 of 43 completions with 3 touchdowns. Touchdowns to Jalen Naylor, hardly even newer, at Jordan Addison and Cam Akers. He's had 35 TDs this season, 4th most in his NFL debut for a new team. And he's won 14 games with said new team, which is a new NFL single debut season record. We had our defense was hot. Blake Cashman was just on fire. We contained Love and their wide receivers. We're awesome at home. We've only lost 1 game, and that was unfortunately to the Kittens, but it was a raucous day with the crowd. They were loving it. And I had never seen so much complaining and whining by Packers fans as I did within the 48 hours after that game. I was seeing every single excuse imaginable. We would have won if Jair played. We would have won if Watson had played. We would have won if this. We're still dominant. We're going to beat you guys. Oh, congratulations on winning your Super Bowl this year, your 2nd Super Bowl this year, blah, 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 blah. And not only did we see it on, socials everywhere that they're complaining, the press has been that way. And as I sent everybody before the show, ESPN is predicting that both the Vikings and the Lions will be one and done, and to watch out for the Green Bay Packers. I check my watch. And it goes, looks like we beat them the first game. You guys beat them the first game. You guys beat them the second game. We beat them the second game. Mm-hmm. That sounds like 2 sweeps. Can we get the broom noise?
Their fan base they're a funny group, because when after the second loss, they were talking kind of crazy. Like there was all these excuses and cheating and that we did and all this other stuff. They even accused the refs of blowing a kneel down play, which it wasn't a kneel down play. Like, come on, bro. Like, let's just stop that. But that's how Green Bay Packers fans are. I can't wait till we get a Green Bay representative on the show regularly. Hopefully next year we'll have one, so he can speak his piece, because a lot of the stuff that they're doing, and Bay's not too thrilled about it. But a lot of stuff that they say and do it's just crazy. Like, just accept your loss, man. Just accept. I watched most of that game, and Green Bay looked horrible for 3 quarters, and then some. So they just looked bad. They couldn't defend. They couldn't score. They just looked bad.
And they couldn't score until we started going into the prevent mode.
I mean, that's design. That's by design. We want you to run clock, so we're going to back up off you. We'll give you the dink and dunk down the field. Take time off the clock. You're battling us and the clock, so we'll let you have that. Pay, your team, what happened last week, and who'd you play, and what was the results there?
I understand. June has been a long year already. Barely remember who the Bears played. They haven't played anybody all year. So the Bears did kick off last week with Thursday Night Football, the day after Christmas. They lost to the Seattle Seahawks, continuing a running Chicago Bears in 2024, not showing up to play football. But in the penultimate game of the season, the Bears had a very limp offensive performance. The Seahawks did too. Bears could have won this game. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. 2 touchdowns were taken off the board. One due to a flag. The other one due to a turnover that we could have ran back, but he was touchdown. You know how that goes. But it's more the same for the Bears. Not doing enough of the little things to secure the big dub. Another backup lineman took a touchdown pass from Caleb off the board, and we ended up losing the game. What, 6-3?
Yeah, it was, I think, the worst game of the season.
Yeah, we've had a lot of worse games of the season, Dave. But it was the most disgusting game I watched probably all year because it was just boring from Chicago Bears standpoint, Seattle Seahawks standpoint. That game was just not interesting at all. I watched it on my phone. I just checked out. I said, all right, I'm gonna do something else. I can't dedicate this type of time to the big TV. I'm gonna watch this on my phone, and it was still terrible. My phone probably has a virus now, but we'll get to that later. So, like I said, penultimate game of the season. Mercifully, thank you, football gods up there in the sky. Put us out of our misery. One more game to go.
Yeah, okay. But you want to win this next one. I want you to win this next one.
Who's the next one again?
Green Bay.
Oh, you got to win that one.
Do we? It would just be perfect.
Just for personal gratification.
Yeah, personal gratification doesn't move the needle.
How much would it change your impact your draft status? Not much.
Yeah, we'll fall out of the top 10. We'll fall to like maybe 14, 15, taking us out of the running for if mock drafts change all the time. But right now, the Bears are maybe able to get the number 1 lineman in the draft, offensive lineman, not the number 1 defensive lineman.
Address the need.
Don't want to play those games. It would be perfect Bears to win a game that they do not need to win. That's how. I'm gonna go off on a tangent. I really don't want to.
Go off.
No, go ahead.
It's your tangent.
I really don't want to, but Peyton Manning should be a Bear. Peyton Manning should be in the Hall of Fame wearing navy and orange. The Bears were 3-12 in that season that he was getting drafted, and won a stupid, meaningless game last week of the season. Kicked us out of the number 1 spot. We end up drafting a bust, and Peyton Manning wins 2 Super Bowls. One of them against the Bears. That's our luck. Don't please. I can't do it. I can't stomach anymore bad Bears luck. I don't like the Packers. I want to see them fail, but if you beat them and then we mess around and not be able to fulfill some of those needs, I'm gonna pull my hair out.
All right. Well, you got some optimism in the chat. Casey says they're a Lions fan. Bears have a solid D and some key offensive talent. I agree. A few draft picks and savvy free agent signings, plus hire a good coach in the offseason. No reason can't do what the Vikes did this year.
There's no reason why. There's no reason other than ineptitude, which the Bears having bundles.
Let's try to be a little more optimistic, man.
I am optimistic. I'm very optimistic. One more game, Joe. You heard what Hove said. Moral victories are for minor league coaches. We're playing grown man football. We don't need moral victories. We need round bellies, and we need the elite ones.
MSU Detroit fan says Laporta is greater than Hawkins. Oh, that's just yeah. Foster, you guys had a game. Monday night. You want to talk about it? What happened?
Yeah, so we played against the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco, and it was a necessary tune-up game to get us prepared for the Minnesota Vikings game. We kind of talked about whether we should try to rest some of our starters to keep them out of harm's way. But this was a sloppy game early on. We had some unneeded penalties that cost us early in the game. And I think ultimately we needed this game to kind of work out some of the kinks that we have that can put us in a position to where we might be able to get a bye week in the first round. So we had some broken coverages early in the game that allowed for Ricky Pearsall and George Kittle to punish us early on in the game. But we, remained steady with our running game. Goff had another great performance. Also, we need to work out some of our protection for him. Nick Bosa was having his way early on, and it put Goff in some trouble. But ultimately, the key to the game was the 2 interceptions by Kirby Joseph that swung the momentum for us, and we were able to do the rest. J-Mo was fully unleashed. I think he had 2 touchdowns in the game. And it was quite the shootout, but we were able to leave that game victorious. Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I was watching, of course I watched the game and we talked about it, but I was very frustrated early with the first half and the second and the first drive for the second half for them. It just looked bad defensively. It wasn't just bad coverage. It was broken coverage. It was like people were wide open. And when the Lions they're diehard for the most part to play man-to-man coverages in the defensive backfield, and they were doing a lot of pick plays, not illegal pick plays, but just plays that would cause a D-back to be out of position, and they were getting wide open. And those are the chances you take when you play man-to-man strictly. You can run those legal pick plays where you cause a defender to run into another person or run into another defender, or and if they sell it right, you can basically bump off a defender as the offender if you sell it right. So one of those things that just happened. So I was very frustrated. So, but I was good with the outcome. The defense tightened up in the second half after that second drive, caused a couple turnovers. Kirby Joseph has a career high 9 interceptions, and I don't think I've seen 9 interceptions from an individual in the Lions uniform for a very long time, if any. I think it was Dre Bly, who had 7 at one point, Foster?
6, I think.
6. And that was how long ago? Was it 2005? Something like that. So Kirby Joseph is a force back there. Say what you want. You can say he's a dirty player or whatever, but he gets a lot of interceptions, and he's been doing that since he's been in the league. So, and Dave, you think he's a dirty player, Dave?
Oh, he's taken out so many tight ends' knees. He tends to play a little dirty, but no, I got to give it to him for the 9 interceptions. That's amazing for anybody in this season.
It's just 2 knees he took out, man. Just 2.
It's a whole body.
It's only 2.
It's only 2. Yeah.
MSU Detroit fan says Lion running back room showing up also. Both Craig Reynolds and Jamar Jefferson have definitely stepped up. Both won't be David Montgomery, but they can still run good yards to give Gibbs a break. Yeah.
Now, it was only a 1-score game. Was your effort fraudulent?
Well, Dobbs got a touchdown late in garbage time, but we were.
It was one of those prevent defenses type thing. You're up 40-28. You're gonna back up some and let them dink and dunk down the field. That's
I'm just referring to the criticism the Vikings get for
Right.
winning, quote, 1-score games.
Yeah, I picked it up.
But you know how it is, though. You can dominate a game, and you've done that twice with Green Bay. You were up 28-0 in the first quarter. That's domination, and then when you have to fight back the whole time, that's domination. And the score was ultimately 31-29, but it didn't seem that close.
Well, it started out that close. You guys were exchanging touchdowns.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah, I'm talking about your guys' game, first game versus Green Bay, but we were down. We were
down 14-7, and then you come back, tie it up, and then
But when you're up 40-28 with
that's
2 minutes left, you kind of just okay. You know, we're not going to let you score a quick touchdown, so we'll back up some and let you dink and dunk down the field. And
well, even if you do, most likely you're not getting the onside kick, and we'll just kneel it out. So,
yeah, for sure. Let's take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll talk about this week's matchup. We have an epic showdown on Sunday night. It's the only game that'll be on. You'll be crazy not to watch that game because it'll be the only NFL game on. It's for all the marbles in the NFC North. And the crazy thing about it is the loser of that game will be the 5th seed in the NFC North. And for those who don't understand, it's because you have 4 division winners that get ranked higher. That's all that is. So it's just crazy that a 14 games winning will get you at a 5th seed, and you have the NFC South where the lead person might have 9 wins. So it's kind of crazy. But we'll be back. If you're listening, you'll hear some ads. If you're watching, we'll be back in like 10 seconds. We talked about it before. We touched on it before, but there's the Green Bay Packers face the Bears. And where is that game? Is that in Chicago or is it in Green Bay?
Lambeau Field, historic, as you know, allegedly historic. Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin. 12 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah. So will you be tuned into the game, or are you just like whatever? Will you watch it from your phone, or will you check? Because that's what I do. When I'm pissed, I just check ESPN Gamecast every now and then to see how it's going. I don't need to watch it. But how are you going to watch it? Are you going to watch the game?
I mean, it's football. I mean, I wait all week for Sunday to
get
it. So I can
other games on no pay.
Yeah, but it's football. I want to see my team so I can properly evaluate when I rip them a new one on Monday. So I got to do that, you know, for content's sake. I won't be in front. I won't be in front, you know, front and center watching it. No. There's a big basketball game happening the night before, so we'll be preparing for an episode, you know, preparing a show to do that on Sunday to talk about that. But yes, I will be watching the game.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, does this, Dave? I might need your help on this one, in case Paige hasn't paid attention or anything. I'm not sure. Does this have any implications for Green Bay if they lose? Does that change anything for them at all?
I believe they're 2 games up on the.
I think they're set, but I'm not quite sure. I apologize for that because I haven't really cared. I cared about who wins the number 1 seed.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I asked is because you at that point, if this game is meaningless, they're going to rest players. They're going to take out the players that will not, they probably won't play Jordan Love. There's some other people that are banged up that could probably play any other time, but they probably sit. So I don't know. That's the only reason I'm asking.
Yeah, I think they've locked the number 7 seed. They have
6.
Okay.
6 seed. 6 seed. Yeah.
Well, they're a 10-point favorite, so.
Yeah, it's going to go. The winner of us is the 1 seed, the 5th, and the 6th seed.
Yeah. MSU Detroit fan says crazy thing to see a 14-3 wild card team play at an 8-9 division winner. And that's the thing, Dave. And I wanted to talk about that because no matter what, right?
Mm-hmm.
If no matter who loses this game, they go play a 8-9 division winner.
It'll be 9 wins minimum.
Well, it'll be 9, but at the same time, you're not too. I mean, you want to play at home, but you're not hell bent to go to do what you got to do in the playoffs. I mean, sometimes you got to win on the road. So it's not like the sky will be completely falling for each team. It's just you want that home team advantage throughout the playoffs. You want that title. You want that banner. So a lot of that is on the line, but the season's not lost if you don't win. So it is what it is. And who knows how the rest of the teams go. It could be some very well upsets within the NFC where you could be right back to having home field at some point.
That's feasible.
It's feasible, but it's not ideal. It doesn't happen like that, though.
Hey, man, good teams go into buildings. Good teams go into buildings and run pockets.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
They snatch chains. They don't make excuses.
We have a showdown. The Lions are hosting the Minnesota Vikings. And Dave, what do you see happening in this game?
You guys coming out in your black and blue uniforms?
I saw that, man. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't like the black. I love the look, but we've been 1-1 with those uniforms on, Foster?
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
We look with the Bills. We played the Bills in them or something.
We played the Bills in them, and then we played. Who's that? We beat Seattle with them.
Okay.
But
I think it's a sharp look. It's just, it is what it is. I hope we respond with our Winter Warrior uniforms, but I doubt that's going to happen. We'll probably be in our traditional white top, purple pants.
Yeah. Those are the Motor City Muscle jerseys.
Is that what they call them?
Yeah. MSU Detroit fan says we're 1-1 with the Motor City Muscle jerseys. And I remember those jerseys because we lost to Buffalo in those. And our fan base can be fickle and can be crazy. They blamed it on the uniforms.
Silly.
No, trust me. Our back in the Color Rush uniform, which I like, which was the purple and just the gold.
Mm-hmm.
People were complaining because we were losing games in those uniforms.
It's not the uniform, man. It's execution.
That's right.
X's and O's.
Yeah, you still got to line up. I don't care what you wear. You got to line up and play football. It is what it is. How's the fan base going? Are you guys pretty optimistic over there, Dave?
Oh, yes. We think we can beat y'all. Sam Darnold has been a delight. His resurgence, or not resurgence, surge under Kevin O'Connell has been absolutely fantastic. He is playing as a top tier quarterback, depending on where you want to put him, 5 or 6. Our defense is top 3. Offense, top 10. We've got all our weapons. We've finally got them all healthy, and we're going in healthy this week. It's amazing. We're going to be a heck of a lot healthier than you guys are, and we feel if we can get a few drives stopped, few punts, maybe a turnover or 2. We've got generated at least 1 in every game of this season, the only team to do that. We'll win this game because we have a feeling it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be offense against offense.
You know what's crazy, Dave? We hope the same thing. We hope we can get a few stops. It's the same. It's the same. It's like we both have those.
I have more confidence in my defense doing that than yours.
Well, I mean, we've played.
Maybe Kirby Joseph gets another pick. Who knows? Sam has thrown some.
we've played 16 games, and there's 2 games defensively where you can say we didn't play well. 2. So my confidence for this team defensively is that we play defense majority of the time when we need to. We make plays on the defensive ends and we get stops when needed for majority of the season. There's one game in particular where we didn't, and that was with Buffalo. The game we even lost versus Tampa Bay, they scored 20 points. It was our offense that wasn't doing anything. We had a touchdown and 3 field goals that game.
But it's your offense that I'm worried about, because you guys can generate points like crazy.
And that's what's been happening. And I think for us, ideally for me, as far as what we can do to win the game, is to keep that Minnesota offense off the field, have some long drives, make sure we score touchdowns instead of field goals, and hopefully we'll get a couple turnovers. And we haven't had a lot of pressure on the quarterback, so hopefully, and that happens every now and then where we'll go a few games without pressure on the quarterback, and then we have that breakout game where we do. So that's been happening off and on all season, even with the injuries. So we'll see.
And you've had a slew of them. And I know San Francisco last week was whining that, they've had as much as you guys, but you have overcome them.
Yeah. There was a quote, I think, I don't know if you guys shared it, but there was there was something I saw from a San Francisco writer that said it's a difference between, the difference is a team that learned to cope with their injuries versus a team that didn't know how to cope with their injuries. And they were referring to their own team with Frisco and Detroit Lions. So I think we've done a very, very good job throughout the season dealing with injuries and playing through them.
Oh, excellent job. Because you've lost some big-time starters.
Well, some key people. And
Hutch.
Hutch.
Davenport. Not that
we don't want to talk about Davenport anymore, man.
That's what we started saying last year.
You warned us about him, and we said, no, he's gonna be fine. Oh yeah, he'll work out here. He has a fresh new start. And he missed game 2. Come back for game 3, and he's out for the rest of the season.
Yep. Now, I did see we opened up with an over and under of 57.5, which is huge. That is a lot of points anticipated to be scored.
A lot of points.
There was one Detroit fan hopped on one of my feeds and said, yeah, and we need to score 58 to ensure that we win. Alone, you could do, it'd be something if we both put up 40 burgers. But that is quite the possibility.
It's not enough time for us to score 40 apiece.
It depends on how quickly it goes.
It would be some quick strikes. It would have to.
It would have to be some long balls and some. But it's possible. And I know when it opened, you guys were 2.5-point favorites. I'm looking at ESPN right now. They've got the over/under down to 51.5. I don't know where they move it that many points, and then they got the over/under to -3 for you guys. So on a neutral field, we'd be even. That's basically how Vegas is looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, the first game was very, very tough. It was very competitive.
You only won by 2 points on the last second field goal.
Yeah, it was a tough game, and we both teams have done a lot since then. I don't know if you remember, Dave, but there was a time where I said, for both teams that went out, it's not realistic. Your team went out. We lost the one to Buffalo Bills, since that was said. But you actually have exceeded expectations as far as from what I've seen. from the very beginning. I never, if you'd have told me Sam Darnold will come in and do the things that he's done, and I knew the offense, I thought the offense was very good with Mullins as the quarterback, and I thought they would be just as good with whoever they put, but I didn't imagine this, and I didn't imagine for the Vikings to be 14-2. I also didn't imagine that the Detroit Lions would be 14-2. Just if you'd have told me at the beginning of the season, I'd be like, nah, we're more like 12-5, 11-6. And you know, me and Foster has pregame show. We have preseason shows, where we had those predictions where we would be 12-5, 11-6 at the worst.
And Vegas had who in second? The Packers.
I think they had the Packers.
And who they have in third? Right behind them, the Bears.
They did.
And then they had us, you know, talking about being in the top 10 draft picks.
Yeah. So that goes to show you still got to line up and play football. Regardless of what the pundits say, predictions, this, that, and other, you just got to line up and play football. Pay, you want to chime in on this? So how do you see this game going between between the Lions and the Vikings this Sunday night?
I agree. It's going to be a fun game. The best way to close out the season. I don't see a roadmap of the Minnesota winning this game. I mean, they can. I just can't visualize it, if you know what I mean, right? Detroit can score. They need to score to win games now because the defense, they do a lot of bending.
That's been there for a while.
Shout out to Janet Jackson. They do the bend don't break concept. Mm-hmm. They bend a lot. You can score on them. Mm-hmm. You can score on them. They come up with big plays. Shot Kirby Joseph. But that goes right back to what I said. They have to score. Minnesota, they've had flashes this season in which their offense was a little tepid, right? So if I had to pick one to win a head-up game based on what I expect to see, I would expect to see Detroit put up 38 plus points.
But in the last 6 games, we've averaged 30 points a game. The least amount is 27.
Detroit does have to score. Yeah, mm-hmm. That's true. Packers suck, but Detroit will put that ball out there. They will try to score every time. I'm rooting for a great game. I want to see it come down to the wire. I want to see. Well, I do think there's going to be a lot of point scores. I can't imagine that this game would bode well for Brian Flores' future endeavors as a head coaching prospect. But, you know, it can always come down to one big play on either side of the ball, and it just matters who's going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Now, I expect the viewership that this be the most viewed game of the 2024 regular season.
Absolutely.
By far.
It's the 2 top teams in the NFC record-wise. I know Philly fans don't want to hear that, but Philly is 13-3, right?
They're 13-3.
Yeah, so the 2 teams going at it. They're the 2 best teams in the NFC. So
and we both own the tiebreakers on Philly. So whoever loses is still.
Yeah, so it's like,
but it's the 5th seed. But
okay, so let me ask you this, Dave. What happens if Minnesota loses? And I'll ask you the same thing, Foster.
We'll probably go down to Tampa and win the next weekend.
That's it, right?
Well,
Foster, what happens if Detroit Lions lose this game?
Well, we're 8-0 on the road, flawless as far as that's concerned. So I don't have major reservations, but I would certainly love for us to get a week off to get more healthy. As we talked about, Alex Anzalone is on his way back, Khalif Raymond as well. And I think it will just be a major, I think it will be give us a major advantage for sure. I did want to touch on just kind of some key points as far as the game is concerned. I'm looking for the team to be a lot more disciplined than they have been the last couple of weeks. We've had some unnecessary penalties for one reason or another. Late hits and shoving matches. I don't want to downplay or try to turn this team down because they are where they're at because of their passion, the fact that they do leave it all on the field. But I think this is going to be a close game that's going to come down to a couple key plays. So we can ill afford to have unnecessary 15-yard personal fouls in this game coming up. I need us to prevent the big play, which starts with stopping Aaron Jones. He had 100 yards rushing last week. We had a lot last time we played Minnesota. We had a lot of broken coverages last week. Another thing that we can ill afford with an explosive team like this. I think that Minnesota's passing offense has got a shot in the arm with the return of Hockenson. So that's going to be very important for us to hold him at bay. And we need to protect the quarterback. We gave up 4 sacks last time we played Minnesota, and Nick Bosa was wreaking a lot of havoc in our backfield. Minnesota is a team that likes to get to the quarterback and cause turnovers off that. They're tied for first in the league with 31 takeaways. And we need to do what we can to stop guys like Van Ginkel and Greenard, who both have about 11 and 11.5 sacks apiece. So that's going to be big for us. But look for the 2 key players, one being Zadarius Smith. He's been quiet the last couple weeks. Our pressure, we were not getting a lot of pressure in the first half. I think we did manage to get a sack or 2 in the second half, but we need more pressure. Sam Darnold's 5th in the league in interception, so he will give the ball away. I think Brian Branch did intercept him in the last game. But lastly, Ife Melifonwu, he's been using the last couple of weeks to get back acclimated. He's been out for the entire year. He had a game-clinching interception the last time we played the Vikings at the end of last year. So look for him to have another to take another step in his return to the league.
Yeah, I mean, I expect a very entertaining game. I expect the Lions to win, but I don't think it's going to be any kind of cakewalk. I think it'll be a range of emotions throughout the game. I think it'll be some parity. I think it'll be a lot of challenges, but I think we prevail at the end. And if not, all is not lost. If you lose this game, you go down to Tampa Bay. That's a revenge game for the Lions, and you just win in Tampa Bay. So it's a lot riding on it. Say again.
Baker is dangerous.
I mean, so is Sam Darnold. We face dangerous quarterbacks all season.
That's what I like to hear.
Man, you guys haven't lost on the road this year.
Hey, no.
So we'll send you on the road. That's how it's going to work.
Hey, I don't want to leave you without leave you on mute most of the show. I got a question for you. We know there's a coaching change headed there. Who's the ideal candidates? Have you heard any news? What's going on with the Bears head coaching job?
Well, the offseason's already started in Chicago. Never mind that game we still have to play. The offseason's already started. The reason I say that is Mike Vrabel, his contract with the Cleveland Browns has already expired. So he's available to talk to other people. He's in the streets now. So if the Bears were
just leave Ben Johnson alone, but go ahead.
No. We're gonna talk to Ben too. But since Vrabel is available, you better talk to him. And since he doesn't have a job, there is no 3-hour limit to when you talk to him. The Bears have a culture issue. And I do think Vrabel's not number 1 on my list, but I do believe Vrabel will clean up a lot of the issues. So in the locker room and just around the building with the Chicago Bears. So from that standpoint, yes, go talk to Vrabel, see how he sells himself to the job, and go from there. I mean, don't. It'd be like the Bears to put a ring on the first person that raises their skirt at you, but please don't do that. You're see what else is out there. There is going to be some other candidates, Ben Johnson, Bobby Slowick, to name a few. So
who do you want?
Probably Ben. Ben is probably the top person on my list. Just because we do need some type of offensive creativity on this team. We're not going to fix all of our inefficiencies with talent, right? Not in one offseason. I mean, we don't have the brain power in the front office room for that. So we're going to need somebody who can coach guys up, hide their inability to play a little bit. And I think Ben is a perfect guy to do that.
Yeah, Ben's a great coordinator. Hopefully, it translates to him being a good head coach, because we wish nothing but the best if and when he decides to leave. And for us, we do have someone on the staff that's I think will pick up the slack after Ben leaves, but he's a mastermind as far as that offense, and he would very well be an asset to the Bears' offensive philosophies. I think things will be for the better, but you guys have got to protect that man up front. Got to protect Caleb. He needs more support up front. And I think once you take care of that, you have the weapons already. Even if you don't pick a offensive weapon in the free agency or offseason, and you have what you have, if you could protect him, that offense will be a force in the NFC North, something that I don't want to see.
Well, like you said, there are a couple of things you can pay attention to if you do choose to watch the Bears versus Packers. Caleb is on pace to break David Carr's sack record, and for a rookie, I think that's not even just for a rookie, just for anybody. He's on pace to get to eat turf over 70 times. I was hoping that if he averaged 300 yards over the last two games, he'd have been the first Bears quarterback to throw for 3,850 yards. He's been the first Bear quarterback to do that. That'll break the franchise record held by Eric Kramer. Obviously, you saw that Thursday game. I don't even think he cracked 200. So unless he goes crazy and throws for 700 yards or something crazy like that, still a good season statistically.
Absolutely.
I saw somewhere it's the only 13th time that you guys have a quarterback go over 3,000 yards or something like that in history. 102 years.
You're muted.
I said, I'm shocked there's been that many. 13 times. Wow.
Yeah. And there's been quarterbacks that do that more often.
Yeah,
but
in their sleep, right?
Eli Manning did it in his career more.
Garbage time.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, we feel the same way about Brian Flores as you guys do, June, about Ben Johnson.
Yeah, that's the other side of having good coordinators. They have opportunities that's the price you pay. You're not going to have a good coordinator without getting offers at the end of the season. And most coordinators want to be head coaches. They just don't aspire to be, I'm just going to be an offensive coordinator and that's it. Most of them want to be head coaches, and the good ones get opportunities. So that's just it. It is what it is. It happens like that with college. It happens like that in the NFL. The good coordinators will get the most offers and opportunities in the offseason. And so there's not a lot of stability when it comes to your coordinators, because if you got a good one, they're not going to be there long. It's just
right.
It is. It just is.
And that's why we had this argument with Zim under there, because we would have new offensive coordinators almost every year. It was if your offense is key to winning, which it generally is, quarterback development, the whole works, you want your head coach to be the offensive guy so he can keep that in place. And then the defensive guy be the one that isn't. But otherwise it's flipped. And the defense stays in place, and then the offense changes out every year, and then you get anchored down in mediocrity where you're the worst of the best and best of the worst type QB purgatory.
Man, I get it. So we're getting close to the 6 o'clock hour. I know we had a couple of us have to be out of here. We can go around the room and you can give your closing. We'll start with you, Pay. You want to close your close out and tell the people where they can find you and stuff like that?
Yeah, of course, June. You can find me and all of our Chicago-based sports takes at the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Available on YouTube, anywhere you get your podcasts, and also on TikTok.
Dave.
You can find me and all our crew at Vikings First and Skull, at Vikings First and Skull, YouTube, podcast, yada, yada. We have the Real Forno Show. We'll be doing something probably tomorrow instead of tonight. We have Sal again with a preview show tomorrow night. And then we have two old bloggers, me and Darren, the old guys in the group that sat down with our wisdom of watching this team for over 40 years apiece and commenting on them over 2.5 decades apiece. We'll dissect this game on Sunday in a preview that should be epic.
Yeah. Well, Foster, you want to put a bow on this and close us out?
I don't have much more to say. Yeah, let's bring this one. Oh, I do gotta commend Dave. He called this early on in the year that this game could have some major implications, whether it's for the division, for the number one team in the NFC, and he called that one, hit that one right on the nose. So here we are in a battle for all the marbles, and very, very fitting. Very fitting. I feel like this is a movie, movie-esque, the way this is coming down to the wire.
To decide who will be king in the NFC North.
That's right.
You can also catch us on Bleachers and Speakers on YouTube. Follow us there. Make sure you subscribe to that channel and follow us on all the aggregators. Just type in Bleachers and Speakers FFSN. Dave, there was a question for you in the chat. It was like, hey, Motown Mitch says, hey, from a fellow old guy, who wins the Lions or the Vikings?
I'm hoping it's the purple, baby. The Vikings should win this one. We're going to secure home field advantage. And there was a report that came out today. I think it was ESPN or one of the big networks interviewed 111 players. What's the toughest three stadiums or what's the toughest stadiums playing? There was Minnesota, the U.S. Bank came in number 3 behind Seattle and Kansas City. So hopefully we want to bring everything through Minnesota.
Yeah, Seattle's a tough place to win at, for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, fellas. All right. Well, you have a great happy new year. We'll be back next week, and we'll talk more about what happens this weekend, and we'll talk playoff football then, and we'll talk some offseason stuff. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to Bleachers Speakers on YouTube.
Get your lick back. If a nugget gon' do something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop, let this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. Get your lick back. If a nugget gon' do something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop, let this shit slide and get your lick back.